this is the opened epiglottis. That's where our oropharynx ends, not when it's completely shutting off the larynx. Okay, and we have our palatine tonsils and our lingual tonsils located in our oropharynx. So those are our 3 sets of tonsils. Our laryngopharynx or laryngopharynx, however you want to say it, is air and food. Okay, it's how once food goes through the oral cavity, it goes into the laryngopharynx, and then it'll separate either into the what? Esophagus, hopefully not into the larynx, because that's where air hopefully goes through, right? Okay. It's continuous with the esophagus and larynx because that's where we create our pathways for the respiratory division or the digestive division. Okay, it goes from our upright epiglottis where our oropharynx ends all the way down to where the esophagus begins. Okay, so this is kind of like an image. So the blue are our nasal cavities and the purple is our oral cavity. So directly behind our nasal cavity, we have our nasopharynx. Directly behind our oral cavity, we have our oropharynx. And then behind the larynx, so this whole thing is the larynx, right here. That's the laryngopharynx. And then below that, we have food and we have air. Cool? Okay, so you can kind of see we have air going through our nasal cavity, okay, our different concha and meatises, and then it goes through the internal nares into the what? What is this area?
Nasopharynx.
The nasopharynx, okay, down to our soft palate, right? Behind our oral cavity, we have our oropharynx, and then back here, where am I?
Laryngopharynx.
That's literally labeled, but yeah, laryngopharynx, okay? So down, it's easier for me to see. Okay, so kind of where this like cartilage ends, that's where you kind of get into the esophagus, okay? And then our trachea is continuous with our larynx anteriorly right here, okay? That makes sense? Okay. So our larynx is known as your voice box. It has muscles that are going to contract and help with the changes in our tone and our loudness in our voice as air passes through. So it functions as an airway into the trachea so that air can get into the lungs, but it also helps with speech and voice production. So we've seen our larynx. It's located anterior to our laryngopharynx right here. Okay, so our larynx is made up of a bunch of cartilages, and the cartilages are there serve as kind of attachments for our muscles so that they can contract and move our cartilage so that we can produce speech. So we have our thyroid cartilage. It's the largest. There's only one thyroid cartilage, and then that's the Adam's apple in males, right? Is the angle of our thyroid cartilage. Oh, it's written there. Okay. We also have a cricoid cartilage. Our cricoid cartilage is a full ring. Okay. It's unpaired, so there's only one. We have our epiglottis, right? It shuts off our larynx when we're swallowing so that food doesn't go, hopefully, down our larynx. We have our arytenoid cartilages, which are small paired cartilages located posteriorly and above